Hey there, boils and ghouls. I'm Mr. Macabre, and welcome back to my movie library. Yes, I had mentioned before in some previous videos that I had pre-ordered these from Amazon. These are the indicator releases. You already know which ones I'm talking about because of the title of the video. I just want to go in to say, I'll go ahead and let you guys know right off the bat, in case you want to go ahead and tune out. The releases I'm going to be covering, they're going to be the Blu-ray releases. I went for the Blu-ray releases as opposed to the 4K releases because honestly, considering some of the other stuff that I've been getting, like I just got the Dracula Legacy Collection and, like some of the other stuff I picked up. It's just that, it was a little bit cheaper to go for the Blu-rays. And honestly, in my opinion, it just seems like when it comes to indicator, it seems like the Blu-rays just seem to be a little bit easier to get, and you can get them a little bit faster and, yes, a little bit cheaper. And honestly, for me, this is just my own personal opinion, okay? But it seems like when you get, to me, it's like there doesn't seem to be much of a difference between the Blu-ray and the 4K releases when it comes to indicator. I guess maybe because it has something to do with, the Blu-rays are 4K remasters as well. But I know some people are probably going to disagree with me and think I'm a moron. But anyway, that's the way it went. So yeah, so if you tuned in hoping you were going to see the 4K release, I'm sorry, I just went with the Blu-ray. So, I hope you stick around. And if you don't, I'm sorry, thank you for stopping by anyway. We'll go ahead and get started, okay? So the first one that we're going to talk about is, they're both genre-long films. The first one we're going to talk about is The Living Dead Girl. This is from 1982. A very, very famous, definitely one of Roland's more well-known films, at least by the title. And of course, a lot of that has to do with Rob Zombie, made a song based on the title of the movie called The Living Dead Girl. But this is actually a really good movie. I will tell you right off the bat, in a way, I'm kind of not too upset that I didn't go for the 4Ks of these because, to be truthfully honest, the special effects in this movie do not hold up much at all. And it looks bad enough in Blu-ray. I can imagine only how bad it would look in 4K. Put that aside, though, the effects artist who did the effects for this movie also did the effects for movies like Martyrs. So it wasn't that the man wasn't talented. It's just, at this point, I guess maybe because the movie was so low budget and just maybe, just talent-wise, he wasn't where he needed to be. But yeah, the effects in this movie really do not hold up much at all. But it's still a good movie. It's still an entertaining watch. This would be a good movie, though. This would be one for the VHS collectors. If you had this movie on VHS, yeah, you would probably be a little bit more like freaked out by the effects of this movie. But yeah, in terms of like Blu-ray or 4K, no, not so much. I am happy that I picked this up, though. I used to have the Redemption Blu-ray, and I got to be honest, this transfer and the sound quality and everything is way superior to the Redemption Blu-ray. So, if anybody were to ask me, hey, I got the Redemption DVD or I got the Redemption Blu-ray, are these worth picking up? It's like, yes, they are. If you're fans of these movies and you really like them, but I guess maybe if, you like that kind of, and you don't want the movies to look too cleaned up and polished, then yeah, I would say go ahead and just stick with what you got. But, if you want to see these movies and I'm definitely sure this is probably going to be the best quality you're ever going to see these movies look, then yeah, I would definitely say, go for these, So, you got this here, it's the typical indicator hard box, and as usual, you got tons of bonus features on here. Let's see if we can read these off real quick. Brand new 4K restoration from the original negative by Powerhouse Films. Original mono soundtrack. Audio commentary with director Jean Roland. Audio commentary with film historian Kevin Lyons and Jonathan Rigby. Selected scenes audio commentary with actor Francois Blanchard. Forward by Blanchard. Jean Roland introduces The Living Dead Girl. Blood Ties, newly edited archival interview with Roland. Jean Roland on The Living Dead Girl, the director in conversation at Montreal's Fantasia Film Festival. Souvenirs de la Morte Vivante. I hope I said that right. Documentary on the making of that film by Roland's personal assistant, Danielle Goyette, featuring interviews with Roland associates Jean-Pierre Bouy, I can't say that last name, I'm sorry, and Elaine Petit. Delicate Deadliness, newly edited, career-spanning archival interview with Blanchard. Deliberately Absurd, newly edited archival interview with B. Talks about his work with Roland and Jess Franco. Sound bites. Let's see, where are we at? I got this. Newly edited archival interview with composer Philippe Durand. The music of La Morte Vivante. Durand revisits his score. Minette Leston. I hope I said that right. 17. Oh boy. Sorry, I get confused on these. Documentary on the innovative special effects designer and makeup effects artist with contributions from Roland B. Petit and Lestan himself. Dead or Alive, documentary on the now lost English language American version of The Living Dead Girl with B. and Petit. Jean Roland at Fantasia, documentary about Roland's time at the festival. Convulsive Beauty, critical appreciation by author and musician Stephen Thrower. Outtakes, original theatrical trailer galleries, new and improved English translation subtitles, new and improved English subtitles for the deaf and hard of hearing, limited edition exclusive 80-page booklet with a new essay by Will Sloan, an extract from the film's press book, archival writing by Jean Roland on the making of the film, an archival interview with the director by Peter Blumenstock, and full film credits, limited edition of 10,000 individually numbered units, 6,000 4Ks, and 4,000 Blu-rays for the UK and US. And that's where you got. I'm sorry, I know I messed some of that up. And here's my little J card here for Living Dead Girl. And I got number 3555 of 4,000. There you go. So that's what I got. So almost to the end of it. So yeah, maybe it was a good thing I went ahead and grabbed this, before they sold out. I don't know. But anyway, this is what we got. And there's on the back. I know a lot of people, at first I wasn't too keen on the way they package these discs and stuff, but I've gotten used to it. I know a lot of people still don't like it, and they're like, I'll just wait for them to do just kind of a standard edition in a slipcase, or not a slipcase, but like a, what's the word I'm looking for? Just a regular plastic case, Anyway, so there you go. Pretty much the same as kind of like what you got on there. Oh, well, no, there's some differences. Okay, my bad. And on the back, it's pretty much about the same thing. And then open it up here. I'm just wondering, since you heard the name of the, heard the name of the movie we're talking about, how many of you are now got Rob Zombie's song playing in your head right now? So there's the inside of it. So yeah, so we got this. It does kind of make sense, I guess, that they released these two movies at the same time. Get to that in a minute. But and here's the booklet. The man himself, Jean Roland, and just kind of, some stills, some writing. Everybody's like, yeah, this is probably the most famous image from the film. Well, I can't show that. Bare butt. Sorry. I'm sure you guys would like to see that, but I would if I could, but no. No, sorry. Okay, we can show that. But yeah, just there you go. Another picture of the man himself. But anyway, so yeah, I know a lot of people are like, yeah, oh yeah, goody, it comes with the booklet I will never read. The booklets don't bother me. Sometimes I read them, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'll be sitting there, I admit I'll be sitting there watching the movie, and all of a sudden, I'll be like, I'll just grab the book and just kind of start thumbing through it, and next thing I know, I'm scrolling, I'm reading some stuff. So it doesn't bother me, but so anyway, so that's what you get. Yeah, I've already said though that this easily has to be the best this movie has ever looked. Like I said, it is very, very much an improvement over the Redemption Blu-ray. Like I said though, there are going to be people out there, they're not going to care. They're not, or they're going to like that the movie looks older or looks grittier or dirtier or something. They don't want it looking too clean and polished. And the movie does. It looks great. It looks beautiful. Some very vibrant colors. Definitely like the green and the grass and the trees and the field. Some of the daytime scenes are very nice and vividly colored. But yeah, overall, it's a great transfer. I would recommend picking up. If you're a fan of this film, or if you've never seen it and you want to check it out, I would say, yeah, go ahead and get this. Because it really is the best this movie's probably ever looked. The only thing, I do enjoy Roland as a filmmaker. Anybody who's followed me for a number of times, or for a great length of time, knows that I do really like Roland's films. But his films are not for everybody. Mostly a lot of his films are, gothic, erotic, vampires, things like that. He did go through like a little period where he went through like a little bit of a zombie period where he did movies like this and movies like Zombie Lake, which, he did not write, or it wasn't his passion project or anything. It was, it was a job he took for hire. But, and then the next one we're going to talk about, which in my opinion does not, to me, it's not really much of like a zombie film. I can see why some people think it is, but to me, that movie's more like an infected person kind of movie, has something more in line with movies like Romero's The Crazies or something like that, But anyway, so, but yeah, I do enjoy his films. They're not for everybody. I know that there are going to be people who are going to be very critical of his films, especially kind of the cheap production value. And you got to understand, Roland made a lot of movies, and he did not have a lot of money to make these movies. And so you're going to definitely see continuity errors. You're going to see things that make no sense whatsoever. And some people interpret it as, well, his movies are kind of more dreamlike or surreal or whatever else. Some people interpret it that way. For example, like at the beginning of this movie, the way the movie starts is you got these two guys, they're disposing of barrels of toxic waste in this basically like family crypt. And, while they're down there, they're like, hey, let's rob the corpses, which is kind of funny because you think about it, it's like, okay, you guys got all these barrels of all this toxic waste and stuff. And so obviously you guys have been doing this for quite a while. And you're just now deciding you're going to rob jewelry and stuff off the corpses to try to sell and everything. It's like, you really hadn't thought of that before, But then kind of like a tremor happens, kind of like a little mini earthquake and stuff. And the toxic waste gets spilled. It gets on the main girl. It gets on her corpse, and she's revived, and that's how she becomes a living dead girl. And then she goes around killing people, eating their flesh. But it's kind of interesting because as the movie progresses, it's like at first she starts off as like the mindless feral zombie and stuff. But as the movie goes along, she becomes more and more alive in a sense. She becomes more aware of who she is and what she's doing, and she feels great remorse. She can't stop from killing and eating people, but she feels great remorse and regret every time she does it. So it's an interesting film. But also too, it's like they mentioned in the dialogue at the beginning of the movie, is like, go talking about her grave. Yeah, her, the girl, she's been dead for a few years now. Go check her out. It's like, how are these? I want to be, when I die, I want to be buried in this crypt because these bodies are perfectly preserved. She looked like she hadn't been dead for even an hour, you know. I mean, she looks perfect condition, you know, stuff. And for a girl who's supposed to have been dead for a few years, you know, locked up in a coffin inside of a crypt, come on, you know. So I mean, yeah, there's definitely some continuity issues and stuff like that, you know, and definitely plot holes and stuff, you know, in Roland's films. But overall, I still get enjoyment out of his movies. So there you go. But so yeah, The Living Dead Girl, I'm glad to have it in my collection, even though I know I wussy out the last minute and went for the Blu-ray instead of the 4K. Honestly, this is definitely worth living with, you know. It looks great. It sounds great. You know, just beautiful. Definitely, easily still probably the best this movie's ever looked. Then we get on to our next one, which, like I said, is not really a zombie movie, more like a infected person kind of movie, and that is Roland's film from 1978, Grapes of Death. But yeah, this was kind of considered like a little bit at a time. It's like, oh, Roland's gotten away from his, you know, sexy erotic vampire movies. He's doing more like zombie films and stuff. It's like, not very long. He didn't last very long at that, you know. That was the thing. Mostly Roland is known for, you know, his erotic vampire movies. That's more what he's known from. And where's my little J card there? Okay. Here's my J card for Grapes of Death. And on this one, I got number 2813 out of 4,000. There you go. All right. I'll try to not butcher this. You know, reading off the bonus features, I'll try not to butcher this like I did the last one. Stop the pesticides. Villages and vineyards contaminated. Urgent help needed. Is there something on here I didn't read? No, it just says dead or alive. All right, let's see what we got here. Brand new 4K restoration from the original negative by Powerhouse Films. Original French mono soundtrack. Audio commentary with Sylvia Christel from Emmanuel to Chabrol. Author Jeremy Rigby. Jean Roland introduces the Grapes of Death. In Vino Veritas, documentary on the making of Grapes of Death by Roland's personal assistant, Daniel Goyette, featuring contributions from writer-director Roland, co-writer Jean-Pierre B., actor Brigitte Leahy, my beautiful blonde French goddess, and regular collaborator Natalie Perry. Poetic Visions, extracts from interviews with Roland and Leahy at the 70s exploitation cult cinema, TV, and music convention, Tarrytown, New York, 1999. Bloody Lips and Iron Roses, German documentary exploring the career and cinematic style of the French horror auteur. Jean Roland in Conversation, an informal interview with the director at Montreal's Fantasia Film Festival. Experiment in Terror, critical appreciation by author and film historian Stephen Thrower. Stephen Thrower is always great. He's always wonderful to listen to. Original French and German theatrical trailers, image galleries, promotional and publicity material, and behind the scenes. New and improved English translation subtitles. Limited edition exclusive 80-page book with a new essay by Elizabeth Purcell. An extract from the film's press book, an archival introduction by Jean Roland, by Jean Roland, an archival interview with Brigitte Leahy, an archival essay by Paul Haggerty, and full film credits. Limited edition, 10,000 individually numbered units, 6,000 4Ks, 4,000 Blu-rays for the UK and the US. And, well, like I just showed you, I got 2813. So there you go. So that's what we got here. And, yeah, this one you could tell, even though it's Blu-ray, you could definitely tell it's a 4K restoration. You do get a nice level of grain in the picture quality, but it's very clean, very beautiful looking. Again, similar to Living Dead Girl, like some of the special effects definitely do not hold up. There is one scene where a blind girl she's killed, and they basically nail her to a door, and the guy comes and chops her head off with an axe. And you can obviously I don't expect them to like cut the actress's head off, obviously, but but it is so clear, especially in the Blu-ray transfer, that you could definitely see it is a fake head. It is so clearly like a dummy mannequin kind of head. So, but really good movie. I can't show you the front of the book, but there's the back of it with the man himself. Let me see here. Trying to find. There we go. Okay. We can show that one, I guess. So, of course, just the interviews and stuff. No, I can't show that because there's boobs. Okay, let's see. What else we got here? And there's that. What the hell was I thinking? Just saying I can't show that because of boobs, and I just showed boobs. Idiot. Let's see here. Where are we at here? There we go. Could show that. I know somebody probably like, you can show that, but you can't show boobs, right? And there she is, my beautiful blonde goddess, Brigitte Leahy, with some gross, creepy people. So yeah, there's a very nice picture here. Unfortunately, I can't show it, but I can show you this one of her. But anyway, yeah, you guys get the picture. It's like, dude, you're wasting time. I'm sorry. Anyway, of course, you get the book. That book that I will never read. You never know. I may decide, one of these days I'll be watching the movie and be like, oh, okay. I'll start reading it. So anyway, so here we go. This is what we got. Again, it's the cardboard, what you expect. And the best part is, now that I got these, now here pretty quick, I can do my video that I planned to do a while back about showing off my indicator collection, which is not huge, I'm going to be honest with you, but anyway, so yeah, there you go. Yeah, we're about ready to come to the end of this movie, or this video, but I am happy. I am very happy with what I got. I'm sure the 4Ks. I'm sure the 4Ks would have been fine. I'm sure the picture quality would be slightly better than what you get on here with these two. But, at the end of the day, the packaging is exactly the same. The bonus features are exactly the same. There's not really anything you're going to get on the 4K that you're not going to get on these. Like I said, I'm just, pretty much, I'm sure like everything on there is on the 4Ks as well. I'm, just really about the end of it is just, the picture quality might just be a little bit sharper. That's about it. And no, I'm not going to stop buying 4Ks. Obviously, if you see my last two videos, the last thing I'm going to do is stop buying 4Ks. Hell, as a matter of fact, they just, I'm waiting to get paid because, Diabolic just put up a pre-order for the Hatchet 4K collection. I want to pick those up. So, yeah, so I'm not done buying 4Ks. Just once in a while, I'm kind of like, I could just go with the Blu-ray and I'll be fine. But anyway, yeah, if you're a fan of these movies and, if you got like old DVDs of them and, you want like better picture quality, better sound quality, I would definitely recommend, yes, pick these up. Plus, too, look at all the big bunches of bonus features you get. So I would highly recommend, yeah, pick these up. If you can get them, pick them up. They are worth it. They're very much worth the price. And Indicator, usually their stuff is always great. They always go full throttle on the bonus features. I don't think I've ever seen one bad transfer from them. Everything I've ever gotten from them has always been fantastic. And Indicator, like they're very much they're a pretty reliable company, I'm sure. So anyway, so that's going to do it. So again, if anybody took the time to watch all this, I thank you for doing it. I appreciate you for doing it. I honestly hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, would you mind leaving a like? If you haven't already, please go and subscribe to my channel. If you want something to say in the comments, go ahead and leave it in the comments. Got a question or anything like that? Ring the bell, all that good fun stuff. Yeah, for those of you that did stick around, even though this wasn't for the 4Ks, thank you so much for doing it. And, it really means a lot to me. I appreciate that you took the time. And that's going to about do it. So Take care, everybody. Love your movie library. I'll love you back. And I'll see you all later. Have a good night. Bye.